What's up, champions? It's your boy, the People's Champ, and today we're going to go over what I think is truly one of the biggest foundations to success, not only in business, but in your marriage, in your friendships, with your children, at church, in your ministry, and that's truly people skills. And today we're going to be going over people skills 101, which means I'm talking bare minimum basics. I'm not talking psychological, I'm not talking philosophical, I'm not talking just basics that I think anybody can take, master, and elevate themselves in any type of situation, whether it's a boardroom, a church room, a family room, anything, to really get yourself to the next level. So let's get straight into this. From a business standpoint, I think that people skills, right under leadership skills, is really a foundational principle to build anything you need. Meaning you have sales skills that can get you to about $500,000 in income, but people skills is the only way you're gonna get to that $1 million in income. Right? Because people skills can balance and blend into sales skills. People skills can now blend into leadership skills, which really takes you to the next level. But realistically, just being able to take people and help them get to the next level, it's going to be designed on people skills. And listen, I come from a very interesting background. If you watch any of my YouTubes or know my story, right, going from the dope dealer to the hope dealer, I was not a normal people skill person. In fact, I was the opposite of people skills. I walked around with a mug on my face all the time. I was very mean. I was very aggressive. I didn't understand, back in the game when I was kind of starting off, I always thought love will get you killed and you don't show really niceness, because if you show niceness, it's weakness. And there was a lot of limiting beliefs and honestly taught principles from my childhood that actually was limiting and honestly holding me back from what God actually had in my life, right? And I'm going to go ahead and start and preface this with all of my number one people skills, which is love always wins. It's not on the slide today because that's just kind of over encompassing who I am and really one of our core beliefs as a champion, but love always wins, period. And that was the biggest thing I had to learn to really help me get to the next level, because I thought it was the opposite. I thought love would actually let you lose, but love always wins. So let's get straight into this right away. Number one, we're going to go over having a sincere love for others. Okay. What I mean by that, you need to treat others how you want to be treated. But see, that's what we think, but it's actually wrong. It's actually, you should treat others how they want to be treated. And what I mean by that is not always all the time how I want to be treated is how someone else wants to be treated. Like for instance, from a coaching standpoint, I love being coach tough. I love being coach direct. I love being coach blunt. I don't have time for the sugar coating and the sweet shat, pat me on the butt. I don't have time for that. Give it to me raw, give it to me real, go straight to the point, tell me exactly what I need fixed. I'm not worried about the delivery as much as I am worried about the message. Now, you can degrade somebody and put someone down, that's different, but I don't really need it to be, sold out and built up. And let me tell you, hey, just tell me what I need to do. I don't have time to talk about it, so let me just know what my blind spot was, know what needs to be fixed, and let me know. But what this really does mean is you need to have a genuine love for others. I love people. I don't always like people, but I love people. God actually shows us, Jesus shows us how to love others. It doesn't necessarily mean, this dude was flipping tables, smacking the blasphemous and all this. It doesn't mean you have to necessarily like everybody. It just means you need to love them for who they are and be genuine about it. Not just have an ulterior motive, but you truly love others. I think if you lead with this, everything else is going to be a lot easier, because if I love somebody, I can also empathize with them. I can see them where they're at. I can meet them where they are, right? But if I don't love them, I don't want to deal with them, I don't have time for them, then all the other people skills kind of go right out the window. Number two, okay, is you want to become an interested extrovert. Interested extrovert. What does that mean? Show genuine passion in learning more about the other person. Okay. So I'm naturally extroverted. Okay. And that's my biggest strength. But that used to also be one of my biggest weaknesses, because I was always talking about where I'm going, what the vision is, what's our next thing. I never slowed down enough to just even find out or talk to the person about the person. I never did that, right? I never focused on that. I was just always go, 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 go. But when I started genuinely figuring out what makes that person tick, what makes that person excited, what makes that person go, what gets that person ready to go to the next level, and what is their goals? What's their values? What's their mission? Who are they? What do they want to become? How can I help them become that faster by being the leader or the influence in their life? That's when my life started to change. So now I take my extrovertedness, my energy, my passion, my excitement, and I just genuinely pour more passion into getting to know those people. And once I know them, then I'm able to lead them better because I know them better.
right? So that's what introverted extrovert actually means. Now, let's get into this one. Make others feel special. Now, this one is one of my favorites, and honestly, probably my favorite thing to do. I look for every single reason possible to make someone feel that they're seen, they're heard, they're loved, and they're special. So, what do I mean by that? When you think about this, I want you to be quick to praise, slow to criticize. Now, I think constructive criticism is the only way you're going to grow in life. It's the only way you grow in the boardroom. It's the only way you grow in the family room. I believe even with your children, right? You've got to be able to give them criticism in a way that's constructive, that actually builds up their character, but also shows them and guides them down the right path. Same thing with your employees, same thing with your executives, same thing with your business partners, heck, even your spouse. If I'm called to lead my wife, I do have to be able to constructively criticize. See, a lot of people hear criticism and they think it's just such a bad thing. But if I'm not holding you accountable, I'm holding you back. If I'm not giving you correction, then you're going to keep doing the same thing that I know is the one thing that's holding you back. Well, then I'm kind of failing you as a spouse or a leader or a parent, right? But I'm going to be quick to praise first. See, what I like to think of is every time I praise and love, I'm making deposits into someone's heart. And every time I have to criticize, even if it's constructive and even if it's not degrading, I'm making a withdrawal from their heart. And what happens is I used to be the leader that wanted everyone to grow so fast that I would always be so quick to criticize them and correct them, but I'm withdrawing. And what happens when you have too much withdrawals in a bank account with not enough deposits? The bank account closes. Same thing happens off with your relationships. If you just withdraw, and constantly seeing of ways to criticize them, well, guess what happens? Eventually that relationship closes. Their heart is now closed off to anything you say. But if I can find every single which way possible to praise, I'm depositing. Oh, he did something wrong. Let me give a criticism. Okay, I took a withdrawal, but I still got a positive balance. Praise. Oh, they did something wrong. That could be different. Let me criticize. Let me give constructive criticism. That's still withdrawal no matter how you look at it. But if I can keep that, let's say a 10-to-1 ratio, man, 5-to-1 minimum where I'm praise, correct. Praise, correct. You're going to keep an open relationship. And more importantly, they're going to trust that what you're saying is out of love and is honestly out to benefit them. But also acknowledge those around you. Always look for ways, like you got to pretend that everyone walks around with a sign on their chest, a neon sign that says, make me feel special. And so whether it's complimenting someone's outfit, complimenting someone's smile, complimenting someone in athletics, complimenting them in the workforce, in the workplace, right? Finding things, man, hey, dude, this PowerPoint you made was unfreaking believable. Hey, the way you freaking delivered that email was so great. The way you worded that to the client was amazing. Man, I love your outfit. I love your hair. Man, did you get something done with your hair? Man, that's amazing. Anything you can possibly do to praise them and look at them and make them feel special is what's going to help you get the longest way, because people want to hear good things about themselves. They want to. Everyone wants to hear that. We need to think about never gossiping or talking down on people. I've always said this. Small people talk about people. Average people talk about events, and successful people talk about ideas and solutions, right? Let me tell you something. The minute someone starts trash talking someone or starts bashing someone around me or in my life, I know that person is someone I don't want around me. I don't gossip. I'll tell you this. You know what's so funny is once you put your foot down to not stand it and not even allow it, all of a sudden it stops happening. People don't call me to gossip, because what I used to do, in fact, in my insurance agency, before I sold that, I used to have someone walk in my office and be like, Coach, listen, Jeff, I don't like how Jeff does this, and Jeff's always rude, and Jeff's this, and I don't really like how Jeff is. Oh, okay, that's crazy. Okay, cool. Hey, hold on real quick. Hey, Jeff, come. And now Kenny's going, no, don't tell Jeff. No. I said, oh, no. So Jeff will walk in, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? I say, hey, look, hey, Kenny doesn't like you. Jeff, Kenny doesn't like you. Jeff, you need to talk to Kenny need to talk to Jeff. If y'all can't figure this out, you're both fired. And let me tell you, within about 90 days, gossip stops really quick. Because what I would say is, if you're going to actually go talk crap on someone behind their back, but you can't even say it to their face, you're a very small, low-life person. You're never going to be successful, because successful people don't talk about people below them, right? And just understand that when you have haters, there's no one that's farther ahead of you that's actually hating on you. You know why? Because they ain't got time to think about you. And so when you think about that, also pretend this. If someone is small enough and bold enough to gossip about someone to you, then they're also gossiping about you to someone else. Because what they're saying is, I talk about people for a living. That's what I do. But also on top of that, what are they really saying about your character? They think so small of you that you're actually interested in hearing about crap talk from about other people. People know I don't want to talk about people, so they're not going to call me about that, because I'm like, dude, do you think I'm some like small person? I'm going to sit here and entertain or participate in this conversation? I don't want to talk about other people. And if I do have something to say about someone, and if I ever say it, let's say I'm saying it to my CEO about an employee, I'm talking about that person to her, I'm going to literally leave that conversation and go straight to that person and do the same thing. I'm never going to say something to someone and ever you're going to hear the words go, hey, listen, I got to tell you something, but don't tell so-and-so. Let me tell you something. The minute you tell me, bro, I'm snitching so fast. In fact, the minute you say, don't say so-and-so, I'm running as fast. You see these little reels and they're like, how fast I tell my wife the dirt when someone tells me not to. And they go, hey, don't tell your wife. Oh, you got it. Right? And it's like, it's a joke, but it's like, I'm running to tell the other person because I don't even want to be associated or even be able to be seen or said that I was talking crap on someone behind their back. So that right there, people know I don't say that. If you got any question, trust me, you might not want to hear the answer, but I will always tell you what I say to someone behind their back because that's my belief. And I don't have any reason to hide that. So people already know if someone goes, hey, Jake was saying this, almost 95% of the people in my life are like, man, Jake didn't say that. And even if he did, they'll call me immediately, but hey, did you say this? I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. I was actually about to call you. Here's why. Here's what I think we should change in that. Da-da-da-da. I have zero reason to hide. But anytime someone starts gossiping about people, that is not the type of person you want to be. And if you're the type of person gossiping on it, people are watching you going, that's a low life person. That's not good people skills. Knowing to escalate or de-escalate a situation. Okay, everyone has two buckets and you got to know which one to use. What do I mean by that? I don't match fire with fire. Because what happens is people are just now going to keep stepping up, going up, going up, going up. It's going to go from a little discomfort to a little raising voice to then like raising voice with curse words to then degrading each other, then to say things you don't want. And then actually know someone's like, oh yeah, you're fired. Oh yeah, I quit. Oh yeah, screw you. We're not friends. And all it started over was literally a freaking communication. Literally just a miscommunication. What I realize is when something starts getting a little heated, I've learned to say, hey, this is getting a little uncomfortable. Like you're taking this so wrong. I was honestly just trying to address the situation, trying to help you out. You're getting defensive right now. Now you're coming at me stupid. You're saying things. Your voice is getting raised. I don't appreciate that. I'm not raising my voice at you. Let's go ahead and pause this conversation. I think you need to take a break, or vice versa. Let's say I start hearing myself raise my voice. I start getting upset. I start rumbling. Like, you know what? I need a breath, bro. I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna take a breath. Because I need to throw water on this situation right now. It's turning into fire and I need to be the one to throw the water. I can't expect the other person to always be the one to throw the water. I need to be the leader to throw the water because this is getting way out of hand. And what's going to happen is what I'm honestly just trying to address as something small is about to be so big that we might not even be able to come back from it. So I got to be willing to throw the water and just say, let's talk another time. Let's just talk another time. I even do the same thing in text messages. And text message, by the way, is the most misunderstood thing in the world. Text messages get blown out of proportion because you don't have emotion, you can't hear tonality, you don't know what they meant. And so sometimes I'll get a text and I ain't gonna lie, it'll kind of catch me off guard, it'll rub me the wrong way, it kind of pisses me off a little bit. And I'll go, you know what? Before I respond, I'm gonna give it some time. And I might even give it a day sometimes. I might leave someone just straight up on red for a minute. Because I don't want to respond that one text that can ruin something so good over simply I threw fire and it turned into a bomb. And that's just not what I'm going to do. So always know it's your choice. It's your obligation to be able to de-escalate the situation, especially as a leader. Never, ever let someone else get you out of your own character because you threw fire on fire. Ever. It's your job to hold your tongue. It's your job to be quick, to be slow to anger. And it's your job to be able to be a godly person, let Jesus in speaking to you and say, I'm not even going to let you get me out of this character. Because when you get me out of my character, I'm giving you permission to control me. And that's not happening. So, next point. Don't be a crap man. Right? Because that's what a lot of you are. You wonder why you got crap in your life all the time. It's because you're attracting what you're putting out. And what do I mean by that? You ever know that person? It's like the cow in the storm, right? Everywhere they go, they just got a storm above their head. And they're just complaining and crying. And, oh gosh, my life sucks. Everything's horrible, right? That's a crap magnet. Right? They're the ones that got to know all the crap. They're going around gossiping, collecting all the crap. Everyone's giving them the crap that's happening. And they just walk around. They smell like crap. They look like crap. They act like crap. Their energy is crap. They're literally just a crap magnet. They're attracting everything negative in their life and wondering why their life is so shitty. Well, that's because they're a crap magnet, right? And so the reality is you attract what you want to keep around you, right? So what I mean by that, what I put out is what I'm going to attract back in. So if I put out positivity, I get positive people. If I put out hard work, I get hardworking people. If I put out love, I get loving people around me. But if I'm constantly putting out crap, talking about crap, listening to crap, engulfing myself in all the negative news, I'm just going to attract that around me. And then now all of a sudden my environment is a crappy environment. And then now the only thing that can thrive in that environment is crappy people. And then you look around and your circle is full of crap. And that is not how you do it. You want to make sure that you're putting out positive, you're putting out optimism, and you're always being the person that is the light in the room, not the darkness. Being approachable. This is a huge one, right? 3 types of dogs here, right? You got the aggressive, the annoying, and the trustworthy, right? When you think about a dog, it's even a child at 4 or 5 years old, right? They can look at a dog or even people. Do you understand like children's intuition? They can literally spot usually burglars. They can usually spot bad people. They can sense bad character people just by their spirit. See, Jesus gave us that radar. You can sense the spirit. Have you ever been in like an alley somewhere and you're like, man, I don't feel good. This isn't a good spot. There's a spirit about that. But it's also in a dog. You can pretty much look at a dog and see if that's an aggressive dog or not. But unfortunately, being approachable is something that people don't look at. How they walk in a room, how they're sitting around, how they're talking, how they're dressed, what their facial expressions look like. They're just not really paying attention to that. And so they're not approachable. So even like when it comes to prospecting or opportunities or business partners or finding clients, you're letting clients walk by you every single day because they don't want to approach you because you look like an aggressive salesperson, right? Or you're the annoying one. Bye. Hey, you should buy this. I got this. Cold DM. Status. Please buy. I'm a roofer. I can help you. You're just so annoying, right? Like you have to be the trustworthy, right? When you look at this German Shepherd, this family dog, that looks like a trustworthy, approachable dog. Someone that I can love on, but that's going to protect me. That's going to stand beside me. That's going to guard my house, but at the same time, be a loving dog in my house, right? That's an approachable person. I want to be the person that looks, hey, I'm firm in my beliefs. I'm firm in my values. I'm a strong person. I've got confidence from Christ, not in myself, but in Christ. But at the same time, man, I'm laid back. I'm fun. I'm here to have a great time. I'm here to make a lot of money, but a lot of memories. And I'm here to do it with people that I love. I want to be approachable. I used to be this person. I had that kind of aggressive stance, right? When you kind of grow up fighting all the time, grow up in the bad areas, when you're around that type of personnel, it's hard to have that approachable, lovable, smiling face. So I used to look like this. I always had that aggressive stance, right? So it took me a while to become that person. But once I had that more trustworthy, lovable, but like I said, protector, but lovable. I was a loving person and I still am to this day. And what that's done is open up for so much opportunities. In fact, the only time that I still struggle with this is in sports. Now, I've gotten 10 times better, but you'd be amazed. Almost 99% of the time for the last 10 years, if I would get on a basketball court or even a pickleball court or anything, I couldn't prospect any of those people for clients because they didn't want to do business with me because I was so aggressive as a competitor. I've learned to still be that aggressive competitor, but have a more approachable style behind it. Right? And so now in like rec play or open play, I'm just more laid back. I'm more open. I want to create friendships. I don't want to create enemies. In a tournament, well, a little different. That's what you get in a tournament, but I'm there to win. But open play, that's what you get. And then I'm able to still be able to react with those people. We look here, people skills, Nick Saban. One of my favorite books is How Good Do You Want to Be? It's one of the best books I think you could read, which is a champion's tips on how to lead and succeed. I think it's an amazing book. I highly encourage you to read that. I read that when I was probably 22, 23 years old. Gave me a ton of great perspective on life. But what it talks about is be the book cover others want to read, right? See, I see this right here. That's a pretty good book cover. How good do I want to be? He's holding up the trophy. He's a freaking winner. He's a champion. That's a really good, I want to read that book, right? That's what it means. Well, first impressions are everything. You just got to remember. And I used to always think, man, that's so cliche. That ain't real. There ain't no way that's true. And I've actually, over the years of my life, let's say I meet someone on the basketball court. Perfect example. Back when I was 21, 23, 20, I was ruthless, right? And I'm on the basketball court. I'm there to play basketball. In my brain, I'm like, man, I'm just here. I don't care what you think about. I'm here to win. I'm here to freaking come down and just dunk on you. I'm here to freaking just literally shoot in your face and step on. I want to just demolish you. Well, the problem is if that's the only interaction anyone's ever had for me, and then they see me now in a suit and tie, and I go to approach them, And they naturally, all they think about is that aggressive psycho. They're not even listening to what I say now, because that first impression was I'm a butthole, I'm mean, I'm aggressive. And then my friends go like, Jake? Are you kidding me, dude? He's the most laid back, fun person in the world. But all they remember was the basketball aggressive person. So I had to learn how to act or react, cause and effect, right? How do I act in situations? So a lot of times what I realized is, especially in adversity or in problems, anybody can, be happy and fun when everything's going right. But what I look for in leadership is when everything's falling apart, there's fire everywhere around you, how are you reacting in that situation? Are you someone that can still keep that same leadership, that same confidence, that same calmness, that same peace? Or do you, right? You'd be amazed on how many people you'll lose in those moments, or how many lifers you'll gain in those moments. Right? Now look, this is a good one, right? Say my name, right? Beyonce hit it on the money, right? Say my name, right? The reality is everybody wants to hear the one thing, which is their name. They want to hear about themselves, right? There's also that other song, hey, look, I want to talk about me, I want to talk about number one. What he's saying is, man, people just want to talk about themselves. And so you need to keep others engaged by speaking about them, right? One of the things that is so hard, obviously, when you meet 1,000 people a day, right? One of the hardest things in the world is to remember names for me. So what I do is I have to actually, I write names down on paper now. Like if, let's say they get on a Zoom, I heard them write their name down and I try to reference it. So I'm always saying their name. When I'm at pickleball, I'm trying to ask the people's names so I can remember to say their name. So let's say, for instance, at businesses, every time I see their name tag, like for instance, at Lifetime Fitness, that's where I work out. And every morning, we go in there and there's this one lady, she says my name every single morning. Hey, Jake, how are you doing? Hey, Jake, how you doing? And it always means something to me. But what I do is I always look for their name tags. Even if I'm leaving like security, valet guys, I'm always like, all right, hey, later, John. All right, later, Sam. And you'd be amazed that they have their name tape on there, but hearing their name, you can see a different reaction. Like, man, how does he know my name? Well, it's on your shirt. But just that name being called made them feel special, seen, and heard. And that's what really takes you to the next level when it comes to people skills. Right? Next one, master communicator. Now, in this one, what this is a book by John Maxwell called Many Communicate But Few Connect. One of my favorite books ever. And what it talks about is you can communicate all day long, but if you're not connecting with the person you're communicating with, it's really falling on deaf ears. And what I mean by that is you need to connect to people and really listen to them, right? So when you think about connecting, it's when I'm speaking and trying to get my point across, am I actually saying it in a way that they actually hear me? Am I just trying to force feed the communication in the way that I like to receive it? Or am I giving them communication in a way that they understand it, they receive it, they internalize it, and they understand what to do moving forward? Because if I'm just saying blah, 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 and I'm barking orders, but no one's actually connecting to the orders, they're not connected to the vision, they're not connected to the outcome, they're not connected to the why, well, I'm communicating for nothing. So you've got to find a way to actually connect with the audience, connect with the people you're communicating with to actually get the outcome that you're looking for, okay? Make sure you master this. Skills with People by Les Giplin is one of the best books ever written. It's literally like 40-something pages, a little purple book's this big. And it's one of the best books you could ever get on just people skills and communicating with people, right? Be someone others enjoy being around, right? I mentioned this kind of in sports, right? Obviously, teamwork and stuff like that. But man, I wanted to learn to be agreeable. A fun fact, I love debating, right? One of my favorite classes in high school was debate. I literally was like undefeated. It didn't matter what topic they gave me. I could debate you to death. I loved it. I thought I was going to be an attorney until I realized how much paperwork was involved. But if all I had to do was walk in a friggin' courtroom and argue, I would have been a beast. But then you have to put 500-page documents, right? And so one of the things that I learned, I told my mentor, he said, man, I guarantee you, man, no one can win an argument with you. I'm like, heck no. They're like, man, I bet debate was your number one thing. I'm like, hell yeah. He's like, you always win, huh? I said, oh yeah, I win. I was like 23, 24. I was like, man, I always win, dude. If we go in a debate, I win. I'm closing everything. He goes, yeah, so you've probably won about every debate, but how many people do you think you lost in the process? And it shocked me. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, look, you can win the argument all the time. You can win the topic. You can win the debate, but you lose their heart. He said, sometimes it's best just to be agreeable. And I don't mean a pushover. Sometimes it's okay to not have to call out everyone out for everything. Sometimes it's okay to save face. On a daily basis, I probably could correct someone 60, 70 times on things they say, whether it be words, the way they say it, how they say it. And I've learned to just let it go. If it's not a deal breaker, if it's not going to affect me in 5 years, if it's not immoral, illegal, or unethical, why am I going to really have to take the time to make them feel less of themselves just to say, actually, it's not that. Actually, it wasn't at 5:36. It was at 5:32, just so you know, right? It's like, for what? I don't accomplish nothing in that. So sometimes I had to learn to let them save face and just pick my battles, right? Remember, back to the deposit, withdrawal, right? You don't want to freaking nitpick everything someone says unless it's a deal breaker, which is immoral, unethical, illegal, or it's going to affect you within the next 5 years as well. Well, if it's not going to affect me in 5 years, I'm probably not spending 5 minutes on it anymore, right? So make sure others enjoy being around you, okay? This one, it's not about you. This is big on not just people skills, but also leadership skills, right? Learn to put the spotlight on others. I try everything in my power to put the spotlight on everyone around me. I heard this one quote. It said, if you put the spotlight on others enough, the spotlight will always come back to you. What it means is if I have all my team around me winning, well, guess what? Who's the leader leading that team? It's me. So naturally, I'll be the one in the articles. I'll be the one on the stage. I'll be the one keynoting, not because of my own efforts, but because of the effort of putting the spotlight on everyone else's efforts to put more effort into it and go win the championship game. So if I can constantly make sure I'm putting it on everyone else and looking for those ways to make it about them and looking for those ways to give credit to other people, they feel loved, they feel seen, they feel valued, they feel appreciated. And then that allows me to get to the next level because I'm putting everything on them. And if we're going to be honest with you, there is no self-made anybody. There's a team-made people. You need a team to accomplish any dream in America, right? And so when I always learn this is, hey, it's not about me. Yeah, I might be the best at this. I might be the best at that. But man, how can I make them feel the best at what they do every single day? Because that's the people that'll fight for you. So, know yourself. What does that mean? You can only give from the overflow. If you don't know yourself, right? And if you don't know your weaknesses and your strengths, it's very hard to lead others or pour into them, right? I have to know what's my biggest battles. I have to know what is my strengths, what takes me to the next level, what is my weaknesses, right? My blind spots. And I have to equip people around me, truth sayers, red flag partners that can say, hey, that weakness is showing again. Hey, you're getting a little upset again. Hey, you haven't really been doing a lot of deposits lately. You've been doing a lot of withdrawals. I have to know that. I mean, hey, your competitiveness is getting a little overbearing. Maybe you need to kind of tone it down a little bit. Right? You have to know yourself because I can't lead others until I can lead myself. And I can't lead myself until I know myself. So you need to make sure that you know yourself so you can give from the overflow. What makes you excited? What makes you passionate? What makes you happy? What makes you feel fulfilled? And if I feel fulfilled, then I can now pour into others at the same time because I feel full. But if I'm always empty because I don't know myself, I'm draining myself on a daily basis. I'm literally to the point where I have nothing left in me. And I think I'm going to walk into a boardroom all bouncy and happy. It's just not going to happen. So definitely know yourself before you try to know others, which leads into the next part, which is seek first to understand, which is the golden rule, right? This is just a quick personality, which is stability, theory, action, relational. It's just type personalities. You have the DISC assessment, you have the enneagrams, you have all of these different things. The bottom line is you want to know your people and understand who they are so then you can now lead them better. You cannot lead a theory type person with an action leadership at all times, right? That's how I am. I'm action. I'm roaring A. Let's go, let's go, let's go. But if someone needs to know the why behind things before they even take a step forward, and I'm over here going, go, go, go. And I haven't told them why or let them understand the process or the result or the outcome that they're looking for, and they're not taking a step. I'm basically just punching them in the back of the head to get them to move. They're never going to want to be led by me. But if I can understand, okay, this person actually requires the why first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to them and, hey, bro, you know why we're doing this? We're going to be able to have the largest toy drive ever. We're going to be able to impact the world. This right here is going to get us to where we can go from only helping 100 clients a month to 1,000 clients a month by adding this tech, by adding this AI. And because of you and the AI you're about to put into that, it's going to literally change the world. That's why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, I got it. Let's go. Versus, hey, let's go make $10 million. Go. That's not it. You got to know your person and you got to seek to understand the other person before you try to just lead them. Now, with that being said, and I'm going to end with this, which is show love to others in the way they receive it. Okay, what I mean by this? This book right here literally changed my life. and definitely in relationships with your spouse, but this is also in the workplace, is the 5 love languages. People all have a different way they feel loved. Obviously, you have words of affirmations, quality time, acts of service, physical touch, and receiving gifts. Now, for me, receiving gifts is literally the last. Could care less, never have like gifts, right? It's not a thing for me. I usually just buy what I want because I'm so sporadic. So I just kind of get what I want when I want it. Like, that's just who I am. I don't really need a gift, right? But other people love gifts. So just because I don't like gifts, if I don't give gifts to someone who likes it and they never feel loved, that's going against me. That hurts me, right? That's a bad thing. So I have to look and say, how does this person feel most loved? And then try to give them love. So my wife, for instance, is quality time. That's her number one. And physical touch. She loves physical touch. Hugging, hands, kiss, everything. If I don't walk by and touch her and say good morning and give her a hug, she feels like something's wrong. So I had to know this. Now, because I met the right one, physical touch has skyrocketed for me from my wife. No one else. I could care less about anyone else. But my wife and other people with physical touch, even a high five, a shake, a hug, that means something to them. To me, it has always been acts of service and words of affirmation. But some people, like my COO, she could care less about words. She does not care. I could tell her she's the most amazing person, the greatest person. She's practically the greatest CEO to ever walk this earth. And she's like, okay, cool. Right? So I have to learn how to love people in the way they feel loved, because you're over going, man, I've just showered you with gifts. I've showered you gifts. Don't I love you? Don't you know I love you? And you're like, yeah, but we've never spent any time together in the last week. Period. Right? So you have to know what the person feels loved by. So you need to figure out, and there's ways you can actually do quizzes online. You can have all your employees take these quizzes to find out what their love language is. So even when you're giving gifts or rewarding them for good work, you can reward them with what they actually want. With that being said, thanks for watching. Look, bottom line is, if this is the kind of content that helps you become a better person, man, subscribe, like, follow for more content. Man, and just let me know what in these areas challenged you or confirmed, right? Was a confirmation like, hey, you're on the right track. You're killing it. All I can tell you is, no matter where you're at, you can always improve. I was even reading some of these as I was going through, going, man, I could actually get a little better than that now. I can actually keep growing. I can keep getting even more. I can go a little harder on it, right? So listen, like I said, always look at yourself and say, how can I get better and become a better version of myself every single day? And all I hope that when you're in this channel, whether it's in faith, family, fitness, finance, or fun, that you're getting the value you need to become the best champion you can be in your life. So if that helped you, man, send this to somebody, share it, put it on your social media, tag me, drop a hashtag, drop a friggin' mention on your Instagram story, your Facebook story. Let me know that this actually impacted you. And other than that, follow for more content. And I will see you at the top, because the bottom is just too dang crowded. And I'll see you become a champion in every single area of your life.